season, and I need a chewy sugar cookie. Vegetable oils next.
I posted this short 2 years ago, and then I just never made a full recipe video. That's not right. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know what her deal was, but we're gonna right those wrongs today. Let's make chewy sugar cookies. We're in this apron today. I'm going for a red and green thing. What can I say? It's cookie season, and it's time to make my favorite chewy sugar cookies. These come together pretty quickly. They're simple to make. We don't even need a stand mixer. We're just gonna use a fork, some simple ingredients, and sheer willpower. Let's dive right in, because the longer I take explaining, the longer I have to wait to eat a cookie. So we are going to start by mixing together our dry ingredients, as one does. This is the boring part, so let's get it out of the way. First, we need 2 1/4 cups all-purpose flour. 1, 2, and 1/4. Loosely filled cups is okay. Don't freak out. Next, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. Here we go. 1 teaspoon of baking powder. And 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Whoa, that's why I didn't do it right over the bowl. It's like I'll just spill my salt, everywhere else. This is great, what I'm doing, and I feel good about it. 1/2 teaspoon salt. I told you, fork is the main utensil we're using today. So we're just going to take our fork and stir together our dry ingredients. Just get them all mixed together. You're just gonna see the baking powder and the baking soda disappear into a sea of flour, but you'll know they're there. It just looks like a bowl of flour. Here's our dry ingredients. We're just gonna set that to the side. I had to grab my butter from the stove. My little trick is while the oven's preheating, if I need melted butter for a recipe such as this, I'll just set the butter on the stove in a little dish while the oven preheats, and then the butter melts. Look at that. That's a tip. Now, in a large bowl, we're just going to mix together our wet ingredients. So first we're going to dump in the sugar that we need. I know that doesn't sound wet, but for our purposes, it's one of the wet ingredients. You might think of sugar as dry. Not me. We need 1.5 cups of sugar. Okay, my sugar is looking a little, I have concerns. Hang on. A second fork has entered the chat. This is my sugar stabbing fork to break it up because it's just a little crunchy. Sugar stabbing ASMR. I think that's good enough. Here's 1 cup of sugar. And then we just need a 1/2 cup. Well, looks good. We'll mix out those little lumps in a second, don't you worry. And now we need 2 ounces of cream cheese. I just use the measurements, you know, the little lines they draw on the package, and then I just chop it off with a knife so that, oh, there's 2 ounces. It really fell into the bowl. And now for the fun part, we're going to pour the melted butter over top, and then we're gonna mix it all together. All right, let's mix this all together. You might need to kind of press into the cream cheese to break it up a little bit. Do sort of a press and stir situation. And it smells fantastic. Sugar and butter. Get Yankee Candle on the phone. Just kidding, they definitely already have a sugar cookie scent. But is it as good as this? I don't know. I don't know if it's as good as the real thing. I'd guess probably not. Okay, that feels pretty good to me. You want it to just be a nice, light, fluffy, buttery, sugary mixture. And that's what we've got. Excellent. We're on our way to Cookie Town. Now, keeping with the wet ingredients, we're not done with the wet ingredients yet. We're going to add 1/3 cup of vegetable oil. We're gonna mix that in. Oh yeah, forgot to get out the whole milk. Okay. Next we need to add in 1 egg. I'm going to crack it into a smaller bowl first in case the egg is weird. We don't ruin all the hard work we've already done. But look at that, nothing weird at all about that egg. Dare I say, a good egg? All right, I'm going to add the egg. Next, we need to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And finally, 1 tablespoon of whole milk. Let's mix to combine. And this is the time when we want to make sure to just work out any lingering lumps and bumps from my chunky sugar, that kind of thing. Make a nice smooth batter. I feel good about that. I think we're on the right track. It's time to mix in the dry ingredients and then we're gonna form a dough. It's all coming together, just like we hoped and prayed that it would. So just dump your dry ingredients right in there. And let's mix. And I like to just scrape around the edges of the bowl while I'm mixing to make sure I'm getting all the flour incorporated evenly. Look at that. Uh-oh, is this a light and fluffy dough? Seems like it. That looks great. We're ready. Cookies are happening soon. I'm gonna kind of reset my workspace a little bit and then we're gonna get right into the cookie assembly stage of the process. We're almost there. Okay, now for the really fun part, we get to assemble the cookies. So I've lined a baking sheet with parchment paper. I've preheated the oven to 350 degrees, and I like to grab a shallow dish or a plate with a rim such as this, and we're going to dump some sugar in here. I'm gonna start with like 1/4 cup-ish. You can always add more. Break up those clumps. You know me and my clumps. And now what we're going to do is we're going to measure out our cookies. I've got my tablespoon here. You want them to be between 1 to 2 tablespoons depending on the size of the cookie. I'm probably just gonna go for like a heaping tablespoon. And then with clean hands, plop it into my hand here. Give it a quick roll into a ball. And then roll it around in the sugar a little bit. How fun. Just give it a quick little roll in the sugar and then roll it into a ball once more. sugar cookie. Who knew? And then just plop it right on your baking sheet. It's okay if it's not a perfect ball. There's one done. So let's do it again. Heaping tablespoon of our dough. This dough feels amazing, by the way. It's nice and light and fluffy. It's exactly what we want, but it's not too sticky. As you can see, it's not really sticking to my hands, which is great. There's a ball. And then we just roll it around in the sugar. This is the Zen portion of the cookie baking process. You can just treat this little dish of sugar as your own personal Zen garden. Rake around the sugar with your little ball, with your little cookie ball. Feel the peace wash over you. Who doesn't love that? Whoa. And some people might feel inclined to be a little more precise with the size of each cookie, but not me. Rough approximation all the way. Am I gonna be upset if one cookie is bigger than the others? No. I'm gonna eat that cookie. I think we could fit a couple more on this tray. And this recipe makes between 16 and 24 cookies, depending on how big you make your cookies. Sort of a dealer's choice. One more for this tray. All right, final thing before we put these in the oven. Take a glass that has a nice flat bottom, and we're just gonna flatten these out. This is satisfying. So just get on top of your cookies and just flatten them out into cookie shape. Look at that. This is why I was not too concerned about the uniformity of each of my little balls. That is incredibly satisfying. Now last thing is we're just gonna take a little bit of this sugar and we're gonna sprinkle a little sugar over top of each of these. Gorgeous! That's a tray of sugar cookies, soon to be baked. We're going to bake these at 350 degrees for about 10 minutes until the edges are just starting to get golden brown. You want to be careful not to overbake these. They bake pretty quickly. If they overbake, they won't be as nice and soft and chewy. It's a delicate balance, but we can do it. Let's go. And while those are in the oven, I'm just going to start prepping the next tray of cookies. Let's keep this train a-moving. I feel like baking cookies can seem intimidating, but these really come together so easily, and they're pretty foolproof. Look at me, a fool, baking them with ease. And then they're a perfect little holiday treat, a little holiday gift to share with your friends, your neighbors, or whatever. And it seems super impressive because you made them yourself. Just delightful. Sprinkle a little more sugar on top. There we go. This second tray is also ready for the oven. Uh-oh. Just the least graceful way to set them down. Here they are. Tray number 1 is out of the oven. Okay, let's address the elephant in the room. Did I admittedly make them a little bit too big and they have mashed into one another? Yes, sure, okay. However, they look great otherwise. When you take them out of the oven, initially they're gonna be a little bit puffed up. Let them sit on the tray for a couple of minutes. They'll continue to cook a little bit. So if you take them out and you're like, I don't know if they're done, take them out. Let them firm up on the tray. And in a couple minutes, we're going to transfer them to a cooling rack and let them firm up even more. Look at that, they separate so easily. Did you all see that? See, you were worried and I said, don't worry, it's gonna be okay. Can she fit them all? She must. She must find a way. Cookies! We're just gonna let these cool. And I am gonna make the rest of the cookies. Oh my God. The second tray is done. All right. Tray number 2 has emerged from the oven and she looks great. So this is what I mean about them being puffed up when they first come out. These are fresh out of the oven. And then as you can see, the ones that we have on the cooling rack have already flattened out, settled down, taken on their true and final form. So, just so you know what to expect. Don't be scared if they're puffy. I don't know why I keep assuming that you're gonna be afraid throughout this process. I'm sorry for projecting that onto you. All right, it's been a couple minutes. I've let these firm up. I've changed to the battery in my camera, and I'm just gonna transfer them to the cooling rack. The final tray is out of the oven. The cookies are done. We have to try one, obviously, but I also just want to show you guys how perfectly lightly golden brown they are on the bottom. Yeah, I feel good about that. Ooh, perfectly soft and chewy. It's cookie time. They're perfect. They're perfect. They're nice and soft and chewy in the center. They melt in your mouth. This is what a sugar cookie should be. It never disappoints. That's it. That's all I got. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please share this recipe, give this video a like, and leave me a comment if you tried this and you loved it. I love reading comments when you guys let me know that you tried one of my recipes and you enjoyed it. It honestly brings me so much joy. I love to see it. It's cookie season. Thank you. Good night and good luck.